Hi everyone, and welcome to Walk Away from the Workbook. If you're new here, my name is Nicole Seymour and I'm a kindergarten teacher in California. I was talking to some friends recently and we were discussing how challenging it is to get our kids to listen. Now, all of us have kids that are ages 5 and under, so I'm probably talking mostly to parents of kids that age, but some of these tips and tricks will probably help you even if you do have older children. The first tip I have for helping your child to listen is if you have a child that is age 1 through 5 or even up to age 6, I want you to stop what you're doing right now, go on Instagram or on Facebook and look up Big Little Feelings. They are two moms that are toddler experts. They give the best information, the best advice, and it's all research-based. And it has really saved the relationship I have with both of my kids. It has prevented me from yelling. It has given me a lot of really good ideas for how to deal with the battles that come in toddlerhood and in the preschool years. Big Little Feelings even has a course that you can purchase for $99 called Winning the Toddler Stage. So if you are at all interested in learning more, please go check them out. They are awesome. So now that I've shared a little bit about who the experts are in getting kids to listen, I am going to tell you some of my own tips and tricks from being a classroom teacher and a mother. The first thing I want to suggest to you is something I learned in a professional development training just last year or maybe the year before. And that is to know what your threshold is in terms of the boundaries you set for your kids. And what I mean by that is everybody has different thresholds for the volume in the room, for how clean they want their house to be, for if they want their kids to be outside and getting super dirty. Everybody has a threshold and you need to understand what yours is so that you can create boundaries that make sense for you and for your kids. Once the rules have been established and the consequences are clear both to you and your child, it is time to let them go off and explore their environment. And when you do that, you have to be sure that you are being consistent with whatever rules there are that you have set out. But at the same time, you need to pick your battles. So again, consider your threshold. What is your threshold for what you're expecting of your child? Pick the battles. Don't nitpick or harp or nag on them about every little thing that they've done wrong. Have realistic expectations based on their age and developmental level. Another suggestion I have, just based on my experience in the classroom with young children and an experience with my own very strong-willed and stubborn children, is do not discipline when emotions are running high on your end or on your child's end. A lot of times when we get into these battles with our children over whether or not they're listening or following rules, the emotions are running high. Tempers are running high. So it is very important to have some cool down time before you explain why your child needs to follow that rule or to give the disciplinary action. Something I've learned from Big Little Feelings is to name the emotion your child is feeling and to okay the feeling that they're having. So for example, you are feeling really frustrated right now. You really want to stay at the park and tell them it's okay. It's hard to leave the park. I know it's hard to leave the park. Right now it's time to go and you're feeling really sad. When you okay their emotions and you make them feel that they are being heard, you might notice that the tantrum or the meltdown will end more quickly and they will follow the direction you have given them because they will feel heard and seen. Another piece of advice I have is never to give attention to the negative things your child is doing because any attention is good attention for your child. They are seeking your attention, they are waiting for your response, and if you give them what they want, that will only escalate the behavior. Something else I want to point out as a mother to a child who has some attention issues is don't discount the fact that kids can zone out very easily. And what I mean by that is they can completely zone into what they want to focus on and tune you out. that does not mean your child is deliberately not listening to you. And that is a very poor assumption that we often make with young children, is that they are choosing not to listen, when in actuality, they are hyper-focused on something else going on, and they literally did not hear you. So what I like to do, especially with my son, is to make sure he's looking at me, to make sure he repeats what it is I asked him to do, so I know that he's understood what is being asked of him. If I just give a demand or a command to him and he has not been listening or he didn't hear me, it's unfair of me to punish him or discipline him for, quote, not listening, when really he didn't hear me the first time. So now let's talk about how to get your child to listen to all those rules and expectations that you have set out for them. The first thing I'm going to suggest is always giving a rationale or an explanation for every rule that you give your child. The reason for this is most of us were told when we were little, the reason is because I said so. And how infuriating was that when you were little and your parent or caregiver or whoever was watching you at the time said, you can't do that. And you asked why, and they said, because I said so. All that makes you want to do as a kid is lie and deceive the people that are telling you no, because they're not giving you a logical explanation for why you cannot do the thing that you want to do. Most of the rules we have in place for kids have to do with keeping them safe. For example, you have to look both ways before you cross the street and hold the hand of an adult so that you don't get hit by a car. And organization rules could be, we clean up when we're done playing with toys so that we know where to find the toys again tomorrow when we're ready to play again, or so that we don't lose the pieces. Another suggestion I have based on my classroom experience and based on what I've read on Big Little Feelings is that consequences need to be given immediately, and they need to directly link to the rule that was broken. For example, if you tell your child, if you don't clean your room, no dessert tonight, they are not going to learn their lesson that their room needs to be cleaned because too much time has elapsed between the rule that they broke and the consequence that was given, not getting dessert. You have to make sure that whatever the consequence is a natural consequence for the rule that was broken. An idea that I use in my classroom all the time is to give choices to kids that will result in what you want to happen. For example, if you are trying to get your child to listen because it's time to clean up, a lot of times that ends up in a battle and butting heads, but it doesn't have to. You could say, it's time to clean up. Do you want to clean up your crayons first, or do you want to clean up your puzzles first? That way, something is going to get cleaned up and your child feels like they have some kind of control in that situation. I would also love to suggest using timers when it is time to get your child to listen to a rule, and also giving them warnings. So for example, when I am at my sister's house, my children never want to leave. So I give them a 10-minute warning, a 5-minute warning, a 3-minute warning, and a 1-minute warning. That way I have reminded them several times in a very calm way that we are going to be leaving in a few minutes. They know what to expect, they know it's coming, and it is less likely to result in a tantrum or a fit being thrown because they don't want to leave all the fun. Timers are also great if you're trying to get your child to listen as they're cleaning up. So for example, you could play Beat the Clock. We used to do this all the time when I was little. We would set a timer and see if we could clean up the room before 5 minutes was up or before 2 minutes was up. And for some reason that worked for us. Another way to use a timer is to pick a toy in the room and have that be your mystery toy. Tell your child that there's a mystery toy that you really want them to find and put away, and see if they can do it before 5 minutes is up or whatever time you want it to be. Typically, when I do this game in my classroom, everything is spotless by the end of the 5 minutes because the kids are so focused on finding the toy or the mystery object that they don't even realize they're cleaning up the entire mess. So here you've created a Mary Poppins type game for your child, and you didn't have to yell at them. You made it fun. The last piece of advice I have for you comes from my experience in the classroom for sure. And that is changing the way that you phrase things to your child to make them sound more positive. Rather than focusing on the negative, such as, if you don't stop talking, we will not go to recess. Change that phrase into, when you're quiet, we can all go to recess together. That very simple change, it creates a more positive mindset in the classroom, and it encourages students to do the right thing rather than to push back because they are being told what not to do. So that is all the advice I have for you on how to get your child to listen. You need to remain consistent. Definitely go check out Big Little Feelings. Make sure that you are following through on everything you say. Don't nitpick your child, and make sure that you are spinning things in a positive way for them so that they feel loved, cared for, and included in the decision-making process. If you like this video, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with a friend who might find it useful. You can find me on social media at Walk Away From the Workbook on Facebook or at Seymour of Coley on Instagram. I'll catch you guys soon. Have fun learning with your little ones. Bye.